Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to 323 Weekly. Smiley here. This is technically week 1 because I called last week week 0 and 4 games were played. We've now had some games played. We have some to talk about, and we're going to do just that today. Jumping that presented. So this is episode 2, season 10. So welcome to the show this week. We're going to do some tier lists, as I imagine most of you are here for. I'm going to talk a little bit about some games of the week coming up that I think you're going to want to keep an eye on. Might be pretty important for each division. And then from there, we are going to jump into top 5 plays, which I have already picked out. I'm not going to figure them out on the spot. We will do that now. If you missed the show last time, this show is mostly just me ranting and raving, and some reason attention to it. But to that end, people are also here for kittens. So there is a Colby bear on my couch, and he is adorable, and he is fuzzy. And there is a Stuart in my chair. Not as fuzzy as Colby bear, but even more adorable, arguably. So, to that end, we're going to get started. We're going to jump into it. Go. Just get... kind of looks like Garfield. His name is Stuart, though. But to that end, we're going to start, and I'm actually each week going to go ahead and put the results up of what happened in the prior week. So, in the prior week, and make sure it's showing up nice and clear there. Yes, it is. You can see, starting with Storm Division, we're going to start at the top and work our way down. I am not a Storm Division caster, by the way, so that Nightbot comment does not apply to me. Save your subs for when someone's doing Storm Division, because I don't. Anyway, to that end, Storm Division, I would say, had what I would call an upset, with at least based on my tier list from last week. Regen getting the 3-2 victory over Can't Think of Name. Other than that, CPOGX Fan Club getting the 3-1 over what was Team Alexander Fan Club is now the other Koreans. From there, other results, though I don't have the graphic because they weren't uploaded to NGS yet. Actually, no, I have a double post here. Sorry, what I did not list was actually Team Alexander getting the 3-2 victory over VGM. So that was the big match between the top 2 teams in Storm Division. So that's right, I'm fixing my slides as we're working on this, the height of profession. But based on these results, obviously that Alexander VGM game, it was really just a fantastic match. I mean, it is what I've been missing end of 8. It really lived up to kind of that level of play, that billing. It really came back to the, oh, this is how the game is played, and I will never be that good at the game. Let me just enjoy watching these elite players go at it. So that was just a fantastic match. Yes, I've just spoiled the ending, but all the same, watch it, and you will get them HD been missing for. And then a lot of the Storm Division matches have really felt like that. I'm not discrediting any other teams in the division, but Alexander and VGM, I had them nailed. I mean, here was my tier list from last week. I had them nailed at the top, and they did not disappoint. Even though a loser came out of the game, they both just clearly were at a level that none of us will ever reach, unless you are microphone going a bit in and out. Let me thank you for raising that concern. Turn my noise gate down just a teensy bit. Hopefully this will be better. I raised the portcullis a bit at my noise gate. But yeah, so, utterly fantastic match. Given that match, and by the way, Team Alexander, they have a new logo. I don't know if they were picked up by this organization. This is just their logo on NGS right now. Saying it for what it is. It's a logo change. But given that they got that victory, I'm going to go ahead and jump them up to S. And the reason I'm jumping them up to S, this is the only team I'm moving up to S this week, by the way. S should be something that once I move a team up to S, I'm reasonably confident that I will never move them off S. And to that end, I feel this way right now about Team Alexander. VGM, I think, was the only team that could challenge them. And they beat VGM 3-2. Very close 3-2. But a 3-2 all the same. That's going to leave VGM at A for now. Going back, we also saw Team Exodia, which we mentioned here. Team Exodia getting the 3-1 victory over Chili Mountain. And they look good doing it. So, I'm going to move Exodia up. From B up to A. I'm not moving Chili Mountain down. But I'm going to go ahead and move Exodia up. Exodia didn't get a lot of chances to play some of the elite teams in the qualifiers, given that they first formed kind of later in the qualifier process. In my opinion, they've looked really good. Do I think they're better or on the same level as VGM? No. Like, if I were to rank these right now, it would be like that. But using the tier list, I'm going to go ahead and move them up to A. I don't think they're going to be challenged by any of the remaining teams below them. And so, that is true. They should be S tier based on name alone. But if it was based on name alone, there would be even S-tier teams. From there, I'm going to swap the positions of Regen and Can't Think of Name. I'm still going to keep... So, ideally, as I start to flesh this out, and I'm not saying I'm getting there today, but as I start to flesh this out, the tier list will be top to bottom is the biggest gap, but then the team on the left I will typically consider the better team. I'm not there yet. I'm not going to get there today. I'll hopefully get there by the end of next week. But in this case, I actually am there. I think still CPOGX Fan Club has the edge over Regen. I still think Ceton has the edge over Team Alexander Fan Club, or excuse me, now the other Koreans. So this is where I'm at. Now, something I'm going to do, and I just realized my head is in a terrible place for this. So let's move my head up here, because that'll actually end up being a good place, believe it or not. It's kind of out of the way. Each week, I'm going to highlight the game to watch in the coming week. And I'm going to actually highlight Chili Mountain versus VGM. I still think VGM is a big favorite in that match, but if VGM is going to get upset, this is one of the opportunities. VGM, of course, is going to be coming off that loss to Team Alexander, so keep an eye out and see if they maybe take out some frustration, or if maybe Chili Mountain has improved and can take them on. We'll find out this week. That is going to be cast either on NGS Official or on NGS2. I think NGS Official. That is Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I have this game of the week to watch. Really, this is more game to watch than game of the week. But, yeah, I'll call it game to watch for now. So from there, moving down to the Heroic division. In Heroic, the results, big surprise for me. Sky 5 tripping, falling 1-2 to Phoenix Rising Topaz, a team that admittedly I had rather low expectations for. From there, Sarah's Crypto Crew getting the 2-0 over Ruby. Richard, or Richard and Richard, there's two ands, did beat Yamate Kudasai. I expected a more dominant showing, though. Wildheart, 2-0 over Team Ripers, although it was closer than the TO looked. 2-0 would make you think. Still, Wildheart, I think, comfortably won that. And then New Game Plus, 1-2, dropped to Brawl is Life. While not reported on the website yet, it was casted, so I was able to see Archon get the 2-0 over Double Paradox, and look really good doing it. So given that, we got some changes afoot here. So let's go ahead. This was our tier list last week with all the awkward spacing that doesn't make any sense. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and start moving some teams around. I'd say the team that looked the best in terms of when they won was Archon, so that makes me bump them up to A. But similarly, maybe I shouldn't all in a match. Sometimes I will bump the winner up. Sometimes I'll bump the loser down. Sometimes I'll do both, and sometimes I'll do neither. In this situation, I am going to go ahead and bump Double Paradox down to Division C. For now, I'll put them over here. No left to right ordering. So that is the result of Double Paradox dropping 0-2 to Archon. Yamate Kudasai I had down at D, and they hung around with Richard, and Richard. Now, I actually still feel pretty comfortable about Richard, and Richard up at B. So instead, rather than punish them, I'm actually going to say, Yamate might be a bit better than I expected. I'm going to go ahead and move them up to C tier. Wildheart beat Team Ripers. Ripers is a team that when I had them at C last week, a lot of people said they've gotten a lot better. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because so many people told me that, but to that end, I do think Wildheart showed to be a pretty good team. They turned around some really crazy fights on, I think it was Infernal Shrines. Yeah, it was Infernal Shrines on when they played them. So I think Wildheart maybe has that edge. So I'm actually going to bump Wildheart up to A. I'm going to leave Ripers for now where they are at C. I don't want to move them up off a loss in this situation, but they're a team that I think very well could move up. From there, Sarah's Crypto Crew looked really good over Ruby. I've seen Ruby. I know they can maybe get some wins, so I'm going to reward Saros more than punish Ruby. New Game Plus hung around with Brawl is Life. I'm going to say that is more to do with New Game Plus being underestimated than Brawl is Life being overestimated, moving them up. Then from there, yeah, I mean, this is a team that I'm eyeing for. Maybe I should put them at A. CCC. For now, I have them here. That doesn't mean they're going to stay there. Obviously, this is only after 1 week of play. So from there, we're going to move Phoenix Rising Topaz up and Sky 5 down. Now, this was between the two an even game. I don't know if that says that I've underestimated Phoenix Rising Topaz or I've overestimated Sky 5. I don't know which direction that goes. It was a close enough game to not make me... and by the way, I'm actually going to move Ripers over here and kind of actually try to preserve some idea of order left to right. So this is how I would put it now, left to right, if I had to. I have Phoenix Rising Topaz to the left of Sky 5. I think, again, close match. Hard to say what to make of that. From there, yep, that's all my changes. You'll notice I don't have a D tier right now, and that's just because I don't really know what to make of any of these teams. Some of my expectations met a lot of resistance there, and I didn't see anything that made me want to move a team down to D. I thought about it with Sky 5 and with Phoenix Rising Ruby. Ruby, though, it's hard when, again, this is a team I think is a lot better than I placed them. So there's no direct comparison from Ruby to the other teams in Heroic. Sky 5, I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt on that. I more likely underestimated Topaz. But we'll see. I mean, we got a couple games next week. The game I'm watching next week, Wildheart versus New Game Plus. A and B team undefeated. Right now, New Game Plus did get a lot of practice in the Storm Division qualifiers. So we'll see if that's going to give them a chance to climb a bit. I think it'll be an interesting match. It's casted by Jinxie Cat, and that's going to be Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. A West results. The A West, it is a double round robin division. As I saw, they didn't see any flex matches played. We didn't get to see Regen Retro yet, which there's a lot of expectations for that team. But we did actually see some pretty surprising play. So Minion Miners dominated Running Wild. Now, we don't know how good Running Wild is yet. They're one of the new teams here. But it looked of like a very dominant 2-0 victory. Baby Makers, Fancy Flightless Foul. Again, I think fairly dominant. Baby Makers getting that win. And then the match I casted hasn't been reported yet, but it was Forge the winning condition versus Fox and his carries. As you can see here, I was pretty big on Fox and his carries. Forge the winning condition ran away with that one. It did not look close. So while that was a 2-0 victory, and there were some moments that Fox and his carries got some kills, Forge never looked challenged in that series. They had a structure lead and a dramatic one at that at pretty much all times. So, with that, taking a look at what changes I'm going to make. Minion Miners, they look better than I expected. I don't know, again, does that win say more about Running Wild or Minion Miners? I don't know. I'm going to err on the side of positivity. And let's go ahead and throw Minion Miners up to B. This series was dominant enough, Baby Makers and Fancy Flightless Foul, that I'm going to do a double move. Baby Makers up, Fancy Flightless Foul down. And then from there, I don't want to punish Fox and his carries too much yet. It could be, and I think this is possible after seeing it, that Forge the winning condition is actually just this good. I only had them at C out of uncertainty, not any other reason. I didn't know the people on the team. But so they moved straight up to A. They looked that good. I'm only going to move Fox and his carries down to B for now. We'll see how it goes. Now, those two teams will play again. In fact, all the matches will happen again, as this is a double round robin. But for now, I'm going to leave A West here. I think it will spread out as the season starts to go on. The game I'm watching next week, while I did want to highlight Regen Retro, because I think it'll be good to see how they are. That Minion Miners Fox and his carries game looks now very important, as well as telling. I think if Fox and his carries dominates this game, it's going to show that A West is fairly stretched out, that the best teams in A West are significantly better than the worst teams in A West. If, however, Minion Miners pulls off that upset, and if they look dominant doing it, Fox and his carries, I overrated them. If it's a really close match, we may have a lot more parity in A West. It's hard to tell. And with the double round robin, it's kind of how do you tier 7 teams? You know, I have some divisions with 12 or 13 teams. It's almost easier to tier those because there's more, you know, more teams that kind of compare with each other. We'll see what happens. This is where I'm at in A West. No caster yet on this match, so if there are any casters looking for a match to pick up, there's your free advertising. Minion Miners Fox's carries, that is Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern. A East, looking at those results, we had one flex match played. So these were all the scheduled week 1 matches. Tiny Dancers and Roomba rotations, they were scheduled to play week 1. It has been pushed to next Thursday. I believe Tiny Dancers is in Heroes Lounge, so that may have factored in, or holidays, or any number of reasons. Right out of the gate, I gotta talk about Gilly Shark versus Beef Boys. I pretty much did not say a lot of positive things about Beef Boys last week. I said I thought they were misplaced, for example. And they came out and got a 2-1. And by the way, this is not the last time I'm going to have a situation like this tonight. Just wait till we get to E and D East and Division E. And we'll talk about things the bald guy missed. But for now, I watched that set. I watched the Beef Boys versus Gilly Shark game. And first, this is probably unfair, but it didn't convince me to move Beef Boys up. Rather, it convinced me to move Gilly Shark down. It was a close series. There were points that could have gone either way, but at the same time, like, there were couple like, ooh, wow, Gilly Shark really lost that pretty badly moments. I'll go ahead and give Beef Boys I'll give them the C. I didn't in my notes, but I'll go ahead and give them the C because I'm finding it harder and harder to justify it. So that's where I have them for now. Obviously, the big upset. That's just, if you think a double drop is bad, just wait till we get to D East. All I'm gonna say. Wait till we get to D East. So, I mean, it seems low for Gilly Shark, but at the same time, I watched that set and great. I cannot watch every match. I'm not gonna pretend to say I've watched every match, but Gilly Shark looked really disorganized. And this is a team that I really like. They've been around a long time. I've always enjoyed watching them because they break out some really fun stuff. I didn't want to do this, but it didn't look good. From there, the other big upset was Caffeinated Nights getting the 2-1 over THC. I considered leaving THC up at the A tier. I decided to move them down to B just because I don't have a justification this season for them being an A tier. I'm sure they will correct that quickly. They'll start getting wins again. But for now, moving them down here. Hard to keep a team that lost up on the top tier. Party Time, they look good. Party Time, getting the win over Tricky Gooses. That's kind of what I expected, so I didn't move either team as a result of that. The one kind of three teams that I toyed with how I wanted to move them. I toyed with how I wanted to move them. And I thought about doing something like this. And I thought about doing something like this. And what I settled on was that, which is to say no movement at all. So Careless Badgers beat Regen Phoenix 2-1. Close set, back and forth. Regen Phoenix beat Wholesome Halfwits 2-1. Close set-ish. It was the first... I actually casted that series, so I remember it much more vividly. The first two games, the teams who won got out to a big lead, and then lost that lead, but still closed it out. The third game was very dominant Regen Phoenix. Ultimately, I think I'm going to chalk up their map loss to more having trouble responding to a particular combo. But they actually, I think, looked kind of okay towards the end once they got used to it. I'm going to keep them at B. I'm going to keep Wholesome Halfwits at C. 2-1s are hard because 2-1s really could go the other way. I would say right now, having watched it, I think Wholesome Halfwits, I would put them above what I've seen from Tricky Gooses. And I have these two off to the side because they haven't played yet, so I haven't seen them at all. Beef Boys, I'd probably put to the right of Tricky Gooses for now, but I'm not going to pretend I actually have a good reason for that, as I, again, haven't seen enough of this team. If Beef Boys wins next time, they're moving up quickly, because at that point it is the bald guy was wrong, and Beef Boys is actually really good. And that's possible. Very, very possible. New teams always kind of do that. Otherwise, though, so not a lot of movement. Nay, I actually only moved 4 teams. Beef Boys, Gilly Shark, THC, and Caffeinated Nights. And you had to swap these two, certainly. The Caffeinated Nights I already had as really the best B team. THC I had as the best A team. They just kind of swapped places. All right. So next game to watch, Gilly Shark. Let's see if they... I think this game will actually tell us a bit about Beef Boys as well. If Gilly Shark struggles against Tricky Gooses, I think they're in for a really long season. Tricky Gooses, one of those teams moving up from B East last season. I think they're the team that is hardest to prepare for of the teams that moved up from B East. They're also the most inconsistent. So they have dominated teams that also moved up from B East. And they've lost really, really badly to teams that are still in B. So it's It's hard to place them. They do a few things though extremely well. Anyway, not a lot of movement. Taking a look now, dropping down to B West. Biggest, would I say Tricky Gooses is tricky? Yes. Yes, I would. Speaking of things that are tricky, some new teams in B West. Phoenix Rising Emerald is a new team. It's not the same Phoenix Rising Emerald. Uwu, new team. The Wind Train, new team. From there, as I take a drink because my throat is itchy. Always fun when your throat is sore. Is it COVID? Is it allergies? I don't know. Bronze 6 looked really good against Cosmos. Uwu getting that win over Soak Every Lane, though, I think tells me that they're a legitimate contender. While this Arrogant Nephilim Lurk Patrol game was 2-1, I actually don't think that's bad for Arrogant Nephilim. I think Arrogant Nephilim still played really well. I think, based on what I saw, I'd still call them a top 4 team. But we'll see what happens. Taking a look has how I changed my tier list. So this was where we were. Again, I'm highlighting. This is the I have no idea tier last week. And to that end, Uwu, I was impressed enough with their win over Soak Every Lane that I just moved them up to A, because Soak Every Lane is a team that we know can win. They were around in B West last season. They did well. Not amazing, but they did very well. I am going to drop them to B all the same. I'm going to drop them... Let's see. I want to keep Bronze 6 over here. I'll drop them here for now. I still think Lurk Patrol probably better, but, you know, we've only seen one game from Uwu, and they frankly looked pretty good to me. From there, the other matches we talked about. So Roll 1 lost to the Wind Train. I'm keeping those two teams where they are for now. Moving the Wind Train over. I'm actually dropping PRE down. For now, I'm actually going to put them over here. I apologize. I just don't think they look that good. Cosmos, dropping them down to C. I thought about moving Bronze 6 up to A, but I kind of want to see some other things. Cosmos, I'm not saying it is at all a bad team, but they've made a lot of roster changes very late in the process, and I think they need time to gel. If they do so, I think they can move right back up. I don't think they're going to be a top 4 team, but I think they'll be a playoff team. And right now, nothing has changed my mind on that. And they would not be a fun out to have in a playoff if that roster can gel. The second half of that sentence is critically important. So did I miss any teams? Nope. This is pretty much how I want to keep it for now. You know, better than bots. I'd have liked to have seen them beat Spooky Ghosts a bit by more. For now, I'm keeping them here, though. We'll see what happens. Could be I'm very much underestimating Spooky Ghosts. I leave open that possibility. Game to watch. Arrogant Nephilim versus Uwu. Arrogant Nephilim had a very tough... Well, they had bye week 1, but they chose to play Lurk Patrol, who I think is the best team in B West right now. They now are playing the second best team in B West, by the bald guy's opinion, which I know you all hold in such high esteem. But this is a big match. Casted by Jazzaline, Tuesday, September 15th. That's this Tuesday, I could just say that. 10 p.m. Eastern. Check that one out. I think this is very much going to help work out maybe who the top 2 or 3 teams are in B West. This will tell us a lot about that. B Northeast. Biggest surprise for me in terms of my tier list that Cosmos changed. Lubu 2-0 over Animaniacs. I had Animaniacs up in A tier. That's going to change. Lubu looked good in that set. Close games, though. Close games. Both had moments where they could have gone either way. Second game favored Lubu more. But first game, very, very back and forth. Close games. This is Northeast. So it was B East 1 and now it's B Northeast, aka the cooler Daniel, and then there's B Southeast, which is B East 2, which is Daniel. If you don't get that meme, don't worry, I'm a child. Anyway, we got to see the first of Strange Team Comp. They actually looked pretty good against Boogan's squad, or Boogan's Forever, excuse me. But Boogan's Forever closed that series out. Scalding Sweat Cult, Legal, both got pretty clean wins in their series. Both made mistakes. And again, full disclosure, I'm on Legal. So any ranking of that should be like soaked in bias. One down here, I haven't gotten to watch it, Die Gaming versus Death and Delay. Had both these teams kind of towards the bottom of my rankings. Was still a bit surprised to see Die Gaming struggle so much with Death and Delay, but that is going to have me moving Death and Delay up. So with that, jumping on to B Northeast. A lot of changes coming. First change, that Animaniacs Lu Bu game. It was close enough that I'm going to go ahead and put them both on B, but I'm going to put Lu Bu to the left. It was a 2-0 again, but they were close 2-0s. I'm going to swap Team Strange Comp and Boogan's Forever, and I thought Boogan's Forever looked pretty good. I'm going to move Team Strange Comp. I don't think they look bad over to the left. This is a tough one because Scalding Sweat Cult I do think is a really good team, but I also think Regen Ghost had some things in that set that concerned me. So I do have them moving down. And another reason for this is, you know, I struggle with this because Regen did beat Lu Bu in, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong on this. I'm pretty sure they just beat them in the XGDI Invitational. So I kind of balanced between over here or kind of over here. I settled on C for now. I hope they come back looking stronger in the next week. And I know this is kind of then backwards. You know, maybe Animaniacs and Lu Bu end up moving down next week. Regen Ghost could move back up. It's tough. I'm basing this on NGS play that I've seen. So, like, I didn't know where to put Regen Ghost here. They were, like, right on the border between B and C. For now, I'm putting them at C. And then I'm just swapping the place of Die Gaming and Death and Delay. Again, having not actually watched what happened in that game. So, full disclosure there. Game to watch this week, Animaniacs, are they going to recover? Deckard's Air Edition had an 0-2 loss to Legal, who I have on the A line. So again, that's hard to judge how bad a loss that is. We'll see. We'll get a better look, I think, at Animaniacs. That's going to be Kotip casting that with his amazing Twitch name, With or Without Balls. But that is Kotip, if you're familiar. That is Wednesday at 9 Eastern, so check that out. B Southeast results. There were a lot of unknowns in B Southeast. I would say more so than B Northeast. I had a lot less certainty about the second B East division. Beyond Gaming, a new team. Regen Anomaly back with an older roster. Deathweb, new team. A lot of unknowns on Deathweb. Based on what I saw last week. So, I had HoloLive Gaming Cats at A. That's not changing. And I didn't see anything that instantly made me want to move someone else up there. Doesn't mean I'm unconvincible. I could see a team challenging them. Right now, I didn't see it. Haven't been a lot of games played. You know, HoloLive got the 2-0 over Bancho, which was one of those teams moving up that I had fairly high expectations for. I mean, here's what I will say. I will say top to bottom, I still stand by that statement. I think, right now, I think the top team in this division matches up well with the top team in B East. I'd say, I don't know which direction that series would go, probably close. I would say right now that I think the bottom of B East 2 is easier. But we'll see what happens. I think Amateur Opponents is one of those teams, though, that could end up moving up, by the way, to the A line. I didn't move them up this week just because, like, yeah, they look good in the win, but I didn't see the win as good enough to warrant moving up to the A line yet. So Beyond Gaming, I moved up to B, and again, not ordering left to right in any meaningful way yet. Regen Anomaly moved down to C, so trade places because of the loss. I'll be honest, Phoenix Rising Diamond, it concerned me how they looked. That's just from watching the match and the eye test. That Amateur Opponents look good. Phoenix Rising Diamond just looked like they might struggle a lot. Deathweb looked really good. They looked so good, I considered moving them up to A. But for now, it's hard to know how good 2 Calculated Throw is with such massive roster changes. So I just traded places. And then not Tiny Dancers, excuse me, ZZZ, which a lot of the players were on Team Tiny Deep Fried Ragaros. Kind of similar story. I considered, so I'm actually going to move these two to the left of Beyond Gaming. I considered, and I'll do this order. I considered moving up Amateur Opponents and Probius to A. I decided not to move up either yet, but I'm very open to doing so next week. And Deathweb, one of those teams that, again, we don't know a lot about, so it's a lot of uncertainty. But match to watch next week is going to be Deathweb versus Hololive Gaming Catgirls. That is no caster yet, but that is Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you're looking to cast a big match, there it is. If Deathweb wins this, by the way, they're my immediate favorite. I'll just say that. Already, by the way, Hololive is still my favorite, but if they lose, then that necessarily changes. Not too surprising. All right. C West results. Here is one of my really, 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 really big misses. Really big miss. I looked at the acronyms roster and I'm like, that's a good roster, and I put them at A, and they lost. And Can't Counterpick Stupid, I'm like, yeah, they struggled in some of their own off-season events. I'm going to put them at D. And they won. So this is this game, Can't Counterpick Stupid versus Can't Create Acronyms. That was a big miss. Otherwise, Randy Newman looked good. Didn't know what to expect between AOL and GG. I'm not even going to try. Garrulous, Gazzleberries, or I'm not even going to try. That ended up being really dominated by GG to the point that I think they might be a team to keep an eye on. Bed Bath and Beyond. Bloodbath and Beyond. Resurgent of Storm. Crazy ending to that. We'll get to that when we get to top 5 plays. Rainbow Strike Go looked really good. 2-0 over Artemis, who they lost to in the D West Finals last season. But Rainbow Strike Go looked really, really good. Essence Gaming got the win over Respect the Goose. I had some high expectations because of some of the roster changes to Respect the Goose. I thought they'd improve a lot. I didn't see it. Essence Gaming, though, one of those teams that hung around last season, got some upsets, so they're not by any means a bad squad. Taking a look at C West. So here was my tier list, which is wrong because this team lost to this team. So I'm just going to pretend none of this ever happened. And there we go. Problem solved. Never happened. We're all just going to forget about this. We're all just going to forget about this. Again, this was a team I didn't know anything about. I looked at the roster. I thought I had some concerns because of some of the roster, but they looked the part of a B team. They looked really solid. AOL moves down only to C, not to D. The only team I'm moving down to D for now is Artemis. With Team Maroon, which, by the way, they don't have a logo, so this is just the color maroon. because I thought it was funny. Team Maroon did lose to Randy Newman. I have Randy Newman at A, and I'm still very, very confident on that one. So I don't want to punish them yet. But Team Rainbow Strike Go looked really good in that win, so I'm actually moving Respect the Goose down to C. I'm moving TRSG up. If I were to do ordering for now, I put Essence Gaming, who I did consider moving up. Essence Gaming off their win to Respect the Goose. They look good. I didn't have the backbone to do it yet. Maybe next week. But I still put them over to the left here. I'd say TRSG next, then GG, then CCS, then Resurgence of the Storm. Resurgence of the Storm barely beat Bloodbath and Beyond, but that core race was a more sure thing than it seemed in real time. Which, again, we're going to show the core race later. I don't really know how to organize any of these 5 teams down here, left or right, so I'm not even going to try. But these, I kind of like this order. See where it goes. That was C West. Chat is being quiet, which must mean I'm making amazing points, or I have bored them to tears. Probably the latter. Anyway, C East now. So this is where I'm at with C West. Oh, forgot. Match to watch. I'll call it match to watch. I'll change all the graphics next week. Match to watch. It's going to be Team Rainbow Strike Go versus Essence Gaming. I think the winner of this is very, very, very likely a top 4 team, maybe top 2. Jazzaline casting that one. That's going to be Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern. Check that one out. By the way, Randy Newman looked... I didn't say this clearly enough. Randy Newman looked fucking good on week 1. They came out. So, I'm keeping them here until I have a very, very good reason not to. C East. C East, we had a match that took place on Monday, which has not been reported yet. Not to name any Phoenix Rising Citrines, but this match hasn't been reported yet. Other than that, though, nothing... the only real surprise to me this week was Bunker Funtime losing to Limit Break, but that was more about not knowing anything about Limit Break than it was about, I think, overestimating Bunker Funtime. Other than that, this was my big game of the week last week for C East. And I thought the winner of this was going to be a favorite in the division. I stand by that. I think Citrine looked really good. I think House of Shez looked good as well, but just Citrine had kind of that killer edge that ultimately won them the series. So, Citrine, you get to stay up here. Sorry, House of Shez. You got to drop down, but you might come back later. Your math teachers and Witch Rhythm are playing tomorrow night. So, I haven't seen Witch Rhythm in several seasons. The last season they could have played in was 5, but I think maybe it was 4. A long time ago. I don't know what to make of that match. I still was high on your math teachers because of how they ended the season last season in terms of their growth. So I have them up here, but again, they haven't played anything yet to stay up there. Nexus Cats look good. They stay. Bunker Funtime, I thought about leaving them at B, and maybe I ultimately decided to do it. Let me check my notes here. No, I did move Bunker Funtime down to C. XGD, I moved up to B. Heavy Slaps, I moved down. Duritan's Couch did struggle a bit with Protectors of Ire, so I'd probably slot them further to the right at the moment. But otherwise, fairly happy with what this looks like at the moment. I thought Citrine again looked really good. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun competitive division, though. I could really see this top 6 being kind of like C East was last season. Like, Lubu won the regular season in CEs last season, and there was something like 18-9. They had like 9 map losses. I could see that happening here. Very, very much could see that happening here. Or maybe they were 19-8. Whatever. They had a lot more map losses than other teams first in their division have. I think this is a very competitive division. So I kind of would encourage you to keep an eye on it. Limit Break got the win over Bunker Fun Time. House of Shez, close loss to Citron. We'll find out kind of how good Limit Break is, because I still, even if House of Shez lost this game, I'd still keep them B tier. So I think we'll learn if Limit Break is maybe an A, B, or a C team from this match. Hasn't been scheduled yet. Once it gets scheduled, check it out. D West. So D West, I just want to repeat something about D West. This was my list for D West. And the reason this was my list for D West was because I had no remote earthly idea what to make of D West. I did not know. Did I? No. Okay, this is fine. I had no clue what to make of D West at all. None at all. To that end, I still have no clue what to make of D West, because all the teams have played one game. I haven't seen any flexes yet. And because I had no idea before, I don't know how good the wins are. What I do know is all of the wins were 2-0s. All of them. So here's what I'm going to do for now. I'm just going to take Yavapai and Lightly Salted. And they're just going to hang out over here, because they haven't played yet. So once they play, I'll move them for now. For now, I'm just covering them up with the bald guy. Everyone else, I'm just simply, for now, putting the teams who won their matches up here. So that is actually almost all the way there. Regen Divine, by the way, looked really good to me. I honestly, the teams that won all looked dramatically better than the teams that lost. I don't think any series looked close. That is to say, I have no clue how to compare the wins, but I will say that there's a clear gap, enough so that I thought about even doing something crazy, like I thought about doing this, because that's how one-sided the matches looked. But, that's a little reckless. It's a little early to do that. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to just squeeze them back together. Oops. Squeeze them back together. And then Yavapai and Lightly Salted. Whoever wins is going to be in B. Whoever loses is going to be in C. They play tomorrow. They haven't played yet. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just all of the matches that I was able to. I didn't watch, by the way, all of these. I watched 3 of them, but they looked incredibly one-sided. And the stats for the other 2 looked very one-sided. So Yavapai and Lightly Salted play, I believe, tomorrow night. Although it might be tonight. The Hype channel got updated, so I don't know if they rescheduled. But either way, that will get us closer. Next week, though, it's going to be Can't Connect Stuns versus Puns Upon a Time for the match to watch. That is actually Monday, so it's early. That is casted by the one, the only Murda. So check that out, 10 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Should be a good match. Both these teams looked really good. We'll as we go, we'll start to sort this out. Again, the division I am still the least sure of. By far. It's not even close how unsure I am of this division to any other division. I would say that BE2 and B West I'm still fairly unsure of. But anyway, they do play tonight. Thank you. All right, D East. We're getting some D East hype already. D East. So remember when I said that I've missed on some teams, and we had some pretty big misses, right? We had some kind of big misses. This is my biggest miss by far. D East, by far biggest miss. Bad Matchmaker won. Both of these 2 teams lost. Rise and Grind beat OMF. So let's just take a look. I have the wrong slide here. There it is, D East. So Phoenix Rising Onyx beat Council of Mages. No clue what to make of that yet. Both these fairly new teams. Team Banshee beat IMF. IMF I had to the lower side. Doesn't tell me much about Team Banshee yet. But one more fight, who I had as my favorite, lost to Rise and Grind. And the big one, Bad Matchmaker beating the Probius Strikes Back 2-1. Now, they did not just beat the Probius Strikes Back 2-1. In the 3-game series, the 1-game Matchmaker lost. Kinda looked close. The 2 games Bad Matchmaker won, they were very, very dominant in. I mean, the kill counts were very, very disproportionately in favor. So I was very, very wrong. Very, 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 very wrong. And probably wrong. And definitely wrong. So, how do I rectify all this wrongness? By the way, should note, Frankfurters hasn't played yet. They had a bye. Similarly, Storm Purifiers and Hot Potatoes play tomorrow. So these B teams are not going anywhere because they haven't played yet. So they're staying put. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move PRO up. Although it was I'm just gonna move them up. Here is how, and I apologize to any players on the team. Because there was the double drop earlier, and I got some oofs. And I'm sorry. It didn't look good. And, I'm going to move these up to C. I'm going to move them to the left side of C for now. Rise and Grind looked the best. This was a close series, by the way, between Rise and Grind and OMF. To the point that I thought about keeping OMF here at A, but I didn't do this in any other division. I didn't do this in any other division where I left a team that lost up at A. So I'm going to go ahead and move OMF down. I'm going to keep Rise and Grind up here. I would move Banshee this way. Did I move Banshee up to B? I did. I did actually move Banshee up to B. So now it's kind of a traffic jam at B. And by the way, I really thought about moving Bad Matchmaker up to B as well. I decided not to. One of the things that swayed me on this, and this is where, admittedly, I'm cheating a little because I'm pulling in some knowledge from outside of NGS matches. But I was really confused when I looked at the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational at Probius's performance, because Probius, it's a good team. They're doing pretty well in C East. They had a good win. How did they do so bad there? And it turns out that it was a lot of this team. And this team, I realized, lost to IMF. I must feed. So that paired with just what I thought was just not a good performance against a team I'm still very skeptical of. That's the triple drop. We'll find out if I'm wrong again. Maybe this is the team that just it's a sinusoidal wave and they just all season doing this. Keep in mind, Probius is already was an inconsistent team. Last season, they started not great. They lost to some teams they absolutely should have beat, and then they beat teams that they expected them to lose to. They were kind of inconsistent, but ultimately a good team. Maybe that happens here. I don't know. Based on what I saw down there. Phoenix Rising Onyx looked pretty good. Rising Grind looked pretty good. I'm interested to see what happens in this match. Am I moving Rising Grind up too fast? Maybe. Maybe they should be down on B with the traffic jam with everyone else. D East, by the way, I'm becoming very unsure of after that first week. I have that as the match to watch. That's Wednesday, 9:30. No caster yet. Finally, Division E. Only 2 matches were recorded on the website. This is angry smiley voice. Fredonia 2-0'd Poseidon. Very, very dominant. The Devil's Rejects dominated Amethyst. Again, very, very dominant. Illa Dancing Queens beat Bull Moose Party. Very, very dominant. FC Hong Kong and Core Bouncers have played. It was not casted, and the replays have not been uploaded. I have no clue who won. Hey, if you're on this team, upload the freaking results, all right? Because they played on, I think, Monday or Tuesday. No, it wasn't Monday. It definitely wasn't Monday. It's Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, FF and the Pancakes and Ice Crown Citadel Knights play tomorrow. So I'm not moving them in this ranking because they haven't played yet. So not moving these two and not moving these two, or not, wait, who did FC, not, Core Bouncers. I'm not moving actually, I'm going to move Core Bouncers down because if a team can't report their matches, they don't deserve to be an A. So they're moving down. Spur of the moment decision, no basis for that, other than spite. I'm a child, is what I'm trying to say. A child throwing a temper tantrum. E. Didn't have a lot of movement here. You know, yeah, like I said, Fredonia dominated Poseidon, but given the tier difference, I think they should have. I thought about moving Fredonia up to A, didn't yet. Maybe I'll change my mind by the time I'm done talking. We'll see. The Devil's Rejects, they dominated Phoenix Rising Amethyst. I think they kind of should, but it still looked good enough. I'll move them up to B. Illa Dancing Queens, from the matches I watched, and admittedly I only watched 2, but from the matches I watched and from the stats, Illa Dancing Queens looked the best from the eye test, but I am not certain of that. Keep in mind that when I made this tier list, this is what it looked like, but, you know, this is a penalty for not reporting matches. So, by the way, I don't know who won, so it could be, you know, FC Hong Kong's fault. But if FC Hong Kong won, then Core Bouncers should definitely move down to, like, C range. So for now, I'm putting them there. It's an average between where they could be, and it's like a quantum state. We pick the average, even though it's not either. Okay. With that is where we're at. Next game to watch. Devil's Rejects, again, looked really good. Illa Dancing Queens looked really good. Linehouse is casting the two of them playing. That's Tuesday at 9 Eastern. And that is the last tier list. So, let's go through one last time. And if you see something you disagree with, type it in all caps in chat. And I will say, yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably wrong. Starting with Storm. Not a lot of changes here, but some move-ups. Swap down there. The only S team, by the way, in I have so far. Heroic, I chickened out. I couldn't put any teams in D, so they're all A through C at the moment. A West, same thing. Chickened out, didn't put anyone in D. Thought about moving Running Wild down, but again, there's some team, like Fox and his carries, players haven't been in the league for a couple seasons. New team. Hard to figure out what to do with A West. A East had quite a bit of moves. This is probably the most controversial. I don't like it myself, but there it is. B West. Uwu. Is this the rise of the Uwu? Does all our Uwu belong to them? We shall find out. B East 1, Regen Ghost moving down, Boogan swapping places with Strange Team Comp, Animaniacs moving down, a couple of swaps there. B Southeast, Deathweb climbing. This team, like, right on the verge of climbing up to A. Diamond, ZZZ moving down. Sorry, my cat is sneezing. I just want to make sure he's okay. You okay, Scooby-Doo? You alright? I think there's noises outside, and so he's confused. We're, living in a... Oh, you don't want to see me that big. No one does. Living in a complex that has a lot of construction going on, so... C West, you know, these two teams, the big up movers. The East, kind of a few rejiggering, not a massive changes here in C East, just a couple swaps here and there. D West, no clue at all, still, just no clue. Maybe I should rearrange the teams to spell out I have no fucking idea. I don't think there's enough teams for me to do that, but point being, I don't. D East, that's E. D East, growing uncertainty. Biggest dropper of the week. And then finally E. So those are the rankings that I have for this week. If they're wrong, and you're thinking of sending me a DM, you don't need to. It's just like if you're right, you'll be right. That's cool. This is still week 1. There's still a lot of uncertainty here in all of this. But with that, I have a surprise this week, and that surprise is top 5 plays of week 1. Now, I want to be clear the rules on this. Here is how I picked the top 5. Because, and this may shock you, I didn't watch all 150 games in order to pick the best plays. Rather, when you submit a match, you get to submit a play of the game. And I reviewed all the plays of the game submitted. Now, I should note, there weren't a lot of plays of the game submitted. There were only like 16, something like that. A lot more than 16 games. So, if you want to show up in this segment, hey, there we go, this way. If you want to show up in this segment next week, when you upload your win, upload your play of the game and pick a good one. I have one play of the game, which is 2 seconds of a Samuro clearing a camp. It did not make the top 5. It just did not. But some other ones did. So with that, we're going to try this. I have no clue how well this is going to work. But I'm going to give it the old college try. So starting, let me pull up my notes here. Starting with number 5, no. I wanted the Tychus over there. Here we go. Fort's still standing about half health, and here comes the engage. Tom Peace does get dismounted, finds the stun on the Spectrum, sleep dart there by Anna. Good patience, making sure the team can close the gap, and that is Anna going down. Leap comes in on the Tychus. There goes Anduin with a great pull to safety, but Tychus getting snowballed right back out. May says, no, I wanted Tychus over there. And this is an immediate turn into the boss. That was number 5. That was from Boogan's Forever versus Strange Team Comp. Obviously, I was the caster there. If you couldn't recognize my voice after this long, I don't tell you. Number 4, Base Race. Number 4, Base Race. Here we go.
Been picked up, and now we might be seeing a base race on our hands. One team does have that Genji camp, but the other core is sitting at 21%. Li Ming is coming in. Greymane is a little bit better of a core race. The core has already been started by Bloodbath and Beyond. They're jumping it down, but it is going to be Resurgence of the Storm with the base race. How's that for Boren?
All right. That was number 4. Number 3, 4-man mosh. This was, and that first, number 4, that was Bloodbath and Beyond versus Resurgence of the Storm. That was game 3, casted by Jinxie Cat. The audio was fine. I watched it live, by the way. The audio was fine. Bit echoey there, but otherwise it was completely fine. All right, number 3. This is Probius Strikes Back versus the Bad Matchmaker, and this was casted by Weenus. So here you go.
To go in to fight for the Probius Strikes Back, but it's going to be even worse in just a little bit. My well puns are not welcome here. Here we go. Here's a big engage. Big taunt coming out. Here's a big mosh catching 4 members. It's a huge from Bad Bros 85. Down goes Tukov. Down goes Garrosh. Looking for more. Getting Alarak. Badgerlord. Oh, I missed it up there. Down goes Chromie. Badgerlord going down as well. It's a team wipe.
Monster kill.
A team wipe with the
All right, and that 5-man kill. You got to think It's a 5-man kill with a 4-man mosh. How's that number 3? Well, stick around for the top 2. Again, that was Probia Strike Back versus Bad Matchmaker. Bad Matchmaker getting the better of that. Casted by Weenus. Next one. Quad Kill Out of Nowhere. Casted by Murda. Here we go.
He should have, actually. Maybe Diablo should have just charged him into that wall. He had the rest of the team right behind him. Instead, Jason's able to be safe up in that top lane, pushing in yet another wave. Here comes a fight at mid. Silent Shoe looking to pull some into this Warden's Cage again. The combustion comes out. Stay a while and listen, as well as that Riptire. They get 1. Looking for 2. They do get it. Now Diablo will fall as well. It is a quad kill.
It's a quad kill
For Regen Divine out of nowhere. And now they're up a full level. They get some value from their web.
All right, and that was number 2. Regen Divine versus TRSG Knights, casted by Murda. It was a great combo. Great combo. How can you top that? You can pop off. You can pop off. The next one, Kira elected the mayor of Reset City. Here we go.
Protected coming out there. Oh, and there comes the Blessed Shield. That's the Subdue being finished. That's like basically another ultimate being out. Oh, and there's the Dragon Blade with the Unstoppable.
He is just hitting
3 tons of
everybody.
damage. Oh my gosh. Reset City. And that was dirty.
There we
What did
go.
I just see?
So, those were your top 5 plays of the week. You want your plays in the top 5 when you submit your match? Make sure to submit a play of the game. If you're not casted, you can still submit a play of the game. You would simply need to do like a point of view stream, which you can do on a delay, and you're welcome to do that. Remember, if you do a point of view stream, you need to let the other team know. So that's it. That is it for this week. So, we went through the tier list. We did our top 5 plays. Next week, we start with simulations. The simulation engine is ready to go. It's revving. But we don't really have enough data to work with yet. So until we get some more data, we're going to keep it in the garage. We're going to bring it out next week. We're going to start running simulations, see what those playoff odds look like for each team, and we'll see you then. But with that, thank you all for watching. DB Smiley here. We have Stuart Kitten as well. Very, very handsome boy. Colby Bear has left the building. Well, not the building. He's still in my house, don't worry, but he's not on the couch anymore. But otherwise, I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. And again, just to clarify, because I got this question a lot, yes, the show called 323 Weekly will happen again. Anyway, I will see everyone next time. With that, take care.